Well, over the past few years, malting barley in Ireland has had a number of issues with low proteins, and a lot of malting barley was rejected at intake because it had insufficient protein content in it. And that obviously has serious consequences for the growers, because malting barley is a premium product, and they're getting extra money to grow the malting barley. And if it fails, they lose that extra money. So it's a significant issue for the growers involved. Well, we started a significant project looking at as many aspects as we can that potentially would affect the protein levels in barley. I suppose one of the problems is nobody is exactly sure what is the root cause of the low proteins in the barley. So we have to find the root cause before we can solve the problem. So we've started a significant research program, both at the plot scale, so using research facilities within Oak Park and on farmers' fields. But we've also started a survey of commercial farmers' fields, where the commercial farmers would supply us with information as to what they did, and then we can compare what the commercial farmers who got sufficient protein levels in their barley with those that didn't, and see can we tease out any of the effects within that. So it gives us a fairly broad insight, both at the plot level and at the field level, as to what's going on. In 2011, we've had some quite interesting results, both from the survey work of the commercial farmers and from our trial work at plot scale. I suppose from the plot scale, what we've shown is that putting excessive nitrogen in with the seed at sowing tends to lead to reduced proteins compared to keeping the level of nitrogen that you put in with the seed at a lower level. And that would have been backed up with previous research done in the past. So we'd be reasonably confident in suggesting that growers not put too much nitrogen in at sowing, and they delay some of the nitrogen until later in the season. We would also have shown many growers would apply just 2 applications of nitrogen to crops, to their spring barley crops. We would have shown that it may be more beneficial to apply it in 3 applications. So rather than applying it in just 2 doses, to apply it in 3 doses. And I suppose what we'd be suggesting there, that typically growers would apply a small bit at sowing, and then 1 more large dose. We would be suggesting that they split the large dose into 2 doses, and that will tend to improve both their yield and their proteins. It suggests that the issues with protein are not solely related to nitrogen fertilizer, that there are a number of other issues that are involved. I suppose 2 of the most interesting ones was that the longer a field has been in tillage, so the further away from grass that it has been, that tends to give lower proteins and lower yields compared to fields that are a bit closer to grass. It has also shown that the inputs of organic manures, so slurries, farmyard manure, spent mushroom compost, those sort of organic materials, that has a significant effect on protein. So that more often that they're put on, if they're put on year after year after year, that tends to give you both higher yields and higher proteins compared to where they're not put on. So we'd be suggesting that, as we've suggested in the past, that organic manures are certainly a very good way to help overcome this protein problem, as well as improve your yields in the longer term. So I think that's shown some very interesting results from the 2011 year. I suppose the one proviso would be that 2011 wasn't exactly a normal year weather-wise, and we have to be careful before we draw any firm conclusions, in that in future years we may get slightly different results. But it's certainly an interesting start to the project.